Hello. Wake up, brothers and sisters. I would like today to address something that Mah Mah Tee actually put out on video for us to actually look at and take in. And that was a video by Billy Carson talking about the government and unconscious and conscious people, and how we need to unify. But unification seems like a curse word in the black community because we've been conditioned to hate one another, and this has happened during slavery, maybe even before then, because of course you know that they colonized Africa, and when they brought in the missionaries and so forth, they actually gave Africans the Bible and they took the land. And they did the same thing here in America. They actually taught us how to hate one another. You know, if you had nappy hair and another one had straight hair, you were light versus the dark, the house African versus the field African, okay? The conscious African versus the unconscious African, and that unconscious African is an element that will do anything for themselves, but nothing for the community. They feel that they have to integrate, they have to play by another man's rule, which they'll never attain, because why would he put you in leadership roles that he actually needs for himself in order to control you? Talking about the government, I don't understand why we can't see that they don't mean us the good that they say they do. And I'm not talking about against my country. I'm not a traitor or anything like that. I served in the military, and my people served in the military, you know. And one of the things that you have to understand and you have to talk about is when you don't think you've been treated fairly, I mean, that's foolish to sit down there and keep taking the same treatment, you know, without saying anything. But we always want to hire and elect the smartest people, okay? Not realizing that the reason why we hire those smart people is for them to make use of their intellect to help us to get the things that we need to survive. But that is not their agenda. Smart people's agenda is to help themselves first, okay? And they're gonna hang out with like-minded people, because once they get in the office, they understand that they wanna be millionaires themselves. So why would I help the people that put me in office first before helping myself? That's just the first law of nature. You know, help yourself first before you can help anybody else. And they're not community-minded people. They talk community, but they're not. They are actually selfish people. And then to understand how the government works, a lot of times, you have to understand the money, and you have to understand campaign contributions and promises that people make before they get in office in order to get votes. And once they get in office, you have to understand the pressure that's applied to them from above. And when I say above, do you really think that Congress and the president are the ones that really run this country and all the rest of the countries? No, money do, okay? And what we have to understand is that instead of being entertained, we need to seek knowledge. And I don't understand why we don't seek knowledge about ourselves first. You know the reason why you hate it so much? You know, as a melanated person, I call it African. You don't have to accept being from Africa. That's fine if you want to be an Indian or whoever you want to be. That's your decision. But that's not going to be part of the community that I'm talking about. The community I'm talking about is trying to educate themselves after being miseducated. They're trying to do things to help not only their families, but other families in the community as a whole. Just like Chinese people, you know, and Mexican and Latino, whatever you want to call them, all those people actually originate from us. But, you know, we act like we don't know that, you know, and they can tell you better than us, you know. As I've been doing my research, it's been conclusively, you know, proven that the tree has many branches. Those branches can be called all kind of people, but you cannot change the root. The root of this earth and human race, and the human race is the only race. There's no such thing as the black race, white race, and all of that stuff. That was just a misdirection play. You know, that was something that was created by a man. We have one human race, and the source and the cradle and the roots of that human race lie in Africa by scientific evidence that has been proven over and over and over again. There have been people like the Chinese have gone out to set out to prove that was a lie, and they keep coming back to the same thing that Dr. Diop had proved in 1974, I believe. So what I'm saying basically is we have to find out, each of us, about our own history so that we can be proud and we can fight for our community the way other people fight for their communities, okay? But we have to understand that a certain segment of our population is not gonna be along for that ride. It's just like I said, Malcolm X said the field Negro and the house Negro. The house Negro is never gonna leave the plantation because he wants to stay there, right there with master, you know, and, you know, enjoy what he thinks is the best life that he can live. But we know better than that. We know that because of our ancestral heritage. But we can't rely on ancestral heritage to help us now. We have no friends, according to Dr. Clark, Henry Clark. But we do have each other if we can come together. You know, economically, you know, this man, Mr. Carson, Billy Carson, he said something that was true, that if we could put ourselves in a save mode and have at least a month or so of reserve finances and not participate in transportation, working, feeding other people, and just take back our economic power and hold on to it for a month and see what would happen. The people would come to us. We would make a significant dent in the economic power of the United States. We feed everybody but our own communities. They spend our money in their communities while they don't have anywhere to spend the money in the black community, even if they wanted to, because we stopped being creators. We are some of the best creators on this earth. Just ask anybody who's benefited from our labor for free. Okay? I put something on the web about black inventors, but I didn't see it got too much traction. And I don't know why we don't look to see about the best in us. Black inventors, have done some remarkable work, and we need to praise our people, just like we need to praise our children when they do good, and we need to stop attacking each other. But getting back to what I wanted to say, we as a people must have left our mind in Africa, according to Malcolm X, because he said that there's no other community but the black community that lets people come into their community and control economics, education, almost every facet of our life. And that all goes back to our conditioning. Our parents and grandparents, they probably did the best that they could for us, okay, with the knowledge that they had. But it's a new day, and we don't have to keep following in the footsteps of people that did the best that they could at that particular time, when we know we're not doing the best that we can because we're not creating the way that we should. We're not living the way that we should, and we're accepting things that we should not be accepting. You do not have to remain a slave. You may have been born into slavery, you may have worked on the plantation, but you don't have to remain there. And a lot of times, I'm not talking about the physical plantation, I'm talking about the mental plantation and the thinking that we have in our minds. We've been conditioned ever since we were little kids, with fear, miseducation, Nobody taught us about finances most of the time. And if they did teach one family, that family only kept it to themselves. They didn't feed the rest of the community with the information that could have made that community better. So I've been looking at something, and he talked about Hollywood, Billy Carson. Well, I see a parallel with Hollywood. You notice when you're watching movies a lot of times how they come very close to reality. They just change the faces, the names, okay? A lot of, Matrix and all kind of movie, Planet of the Apes, they show you truth right there in your face. And we need to take the time to stop being entertained and actually look and dissect things, especially when the media tells us things. Sometimes some people, the only information they get is from the news, and the news is controlled by the people that run this country, and so they're the ones that tell you what they want you to know. And most of us will not go back and research something that people tell us. We'll believe it as the truth. But the real truth is inside you. The real God is inside you. But you're so worried about external factors that you can't even deal with the internal factor of changing your mind. I was once told by a person that you need to do your self-history. But most of us don't want to do that because there's a lot of darkness inside of us, and we're scared of that darkness. We don't want to face some of the things that's been holding us back. In fact, I believe we're afraid of success. We've been taught that way. And we need to work on that. I'm laughing because everybody else that comes to this country, they think that this is the place, of milk and honey. And I see a lot of them, have come here and seem like they leapfrog over us immediately. So that's something that needs to be talked about. we're consistently at the bottom of the financial makeup of this country. And people invest a lot in keeping it that way. Institutional racism, what? That's just, for me, that's just a big plantation, okay? And we need to take a look at some things and take a look at ourselves. This is Ghost Rider out, 6:15. And I just want to say, you know, I know this video is not going to be for everybody. And I really don't like going on here asking people to like, share, subscribe. You know, if this information isn't for you, I understand. But I understand that I used to watch videos and I actually liked them. And I did not put forth the effort to like a video because I don't know why. I mean, maybe because I'm an older and mature guy and, you know, I'm just getting the hang of this YouTube stuff and all of this. And I don't participate in things that I sometimes should. But I am understanding that you don't like the messages that you see of blacks attacking blacks on YouTube and doing things that, you know, we know are actually negative and have a negative, I guess, effect on the black community, then we need to put some information out there that other people who do not want to see that can actually take and look at your information and the knowledge that you give and have a replacement for that. But if you're sitting on the sidelines, you know, it's easy to talk. You know, you have to do something. And so, as I said, if you think any of this is something that, you know, you can appreciate, please like, share, subscribe, comment. You know, I would love to hear your comments. I love to hear, see people give some videos that I can look at and I can learn from. Because all I'm doing is sharing information. There's nothing new under the sun. And you know, only thing is it changes, you know, by who presents it and how they present it. But there's nothing new that comes out. So again, this is Ghost Rider 615, Ghost Writer 615. Please engage and interact with me or the video, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.